My name is AnnickMagac. I am the author of Clear, a coach, a speaker, and a designer. And today I went to a Toastmasters district event. I don't know if any of you know what Toastmasters is, but it's an international organization where basically there are these clubs that you can join to learn how to speak publicly. You get to practice speeches, and in real live time, you get feedback on those speeches about how you've performed, anything about that speech, your content, your variety, how you present it, and it's really, really excellent. Like I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to do public speaking. I also recommend it for anybody who's involved in business or wants to build confidence. For instance, we have a number of people that are actually pastors who talk every weekend, and yet they still go to Toastmasters to practice so that they can deliver their sermons well, which I think is fantastic. Then we also have a huge age range from like 20 years old to 78 in my particular club. I'm the president of my club, so I actually kind of got sucked into Toastmasters without even really thinking about it too much. And it's been a couple years that I've been a member. And we have these district events where we get to go and get presentations by the creme de la creme of speaking. So today I went to an all-day presentation, and when I left, it got me thinking about a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. One thing that came up was speaking in general. One of the reasons why I have been wanting to do these periscopes is that I could practice just speaking daily and covering different topics, and also just getting better, because if you don't speak and you're shy and you don't interact much with people, you don't get any practice. The largest crowd has been about 500 people at this point, and I'm hoping that I can add a couple of zeros to that at some point. So we have a tendency to want to do things, or we think in our mind like, we're really good at it, so maybe I don't need to practice. For instance, if you're just like a naturally chatty person, maybe you just are like, yeah, you know what, I'm really outgoing, it's really easy for me to speak in front of people. And so I challenge you on that and say, is that really true? Like, I'm sure you can get up and say, hi, my name is Annick, I'm here to speak to you. But to actually formulate a full speech and to deliver it, make sense, not get nervous, not get thrown by, the audio not working, or your slide presentation totally, just not working as well, can be a really hard thing to kind of navigate. So when you see somebody who's a public speaker, like, let's just say in like the health and wellness realm, Gabby Bernstein is a really good example. She's phenomenal in person. If you're looking at business, one of my absolute favorite people to speak, and probably my speaking idol, is, I just totally blanked on her name. Oh, Ariana Huffington. Has anybody had the opportunity to hear her speak, even from like a YouTube video? Let me tell you, the lady is amazing. She's like got all the points. She's poised, she's elegant, she knows how to deliver story. She intertwines personal experience with a story, and she's really, really, really great. I practice that. I'm trying to practice that. So how can you learn how to speak well? Well, one is to get involved with a club that supports it, and Toastmasters is one of other clubs that are out there, organizations for speaking. Because I'm part of it, it's worked for me, and I've seen it work for a lot of people. But you gain a type of confidence from public speaking that I think that if you're a business person or an entrepreneur, it's definitely something that you might want to consider getting better at, because oftentimes if we want somebody to buy into our business, and I'm not even just talking about sales, but to actually get somebody to maybe invest, or being able to deal with a manufacturer if you want to get something produced, you need to be able to speak clearly and express your ideas, especially if you're a visionary and maybe you are a bit of a tinkerer, or you invent a lot of things. Sometimes if you're working in a small kind of environment or in a lab, you may not come across a lot of people, or actually have to voice everything that's going on in your head. So it's really good practice to actually be able to voice that and get that out. What I wanted to share with you today, well, one of the things I was going to say is that practicing, and so I think it's important to have these kind of clubs. But they had a contest today, which ends up happening at these district events, where they start off on the club level, they go to an area level, then they end up at a district level, then they end up at a national level, and then a world level. And it's called this Table Topics, and what they do is that you do not know the question before you get it presented to it, so you actually show up, individually with the different people, they ask a question and you have 2 minutes to answer it. And this is the contest, and the next contestant is outside the room, so they never hear what you say and they can't be influenced to get ideas. So everybody just hears it right away. So the question today was, and I think that this will be interesting, and I would love to hear what you guys think of this. The question was, I had it open, hold on. Some people say a little white lie is sometimes okay. What do you think? Some people say a little white lie is sometimes okay. What do you think? I'm gonna let that soak in for a second. There were 7 people that got up and spoke about this. And as they were talking, it was really interesting to see not only their responses, which were all completely different, but to also gauge the audience's response. And as I was sitting there thinking, I was like, wow, you know what? If I had been given this question, and I think it's a really good one, especially as we're heading into the holiday season, because I'm going to bring up a couple of points, is that how many white lies do you say? Or do you believe that you should always tell the truth? And I was thinking about the white lie thing, because a lot of us are going to end up at Thanksgiving. If you're in the U.S., you're going to end up at a Thanksgiving dinner. Or even, you know, Christmas is coming up, New Year's. We have all the holidays coming up, right? And say you go to dinner, and then all of a sudden you have Aunt Betsy's disgusting pecan pie that nobody ever wants to eat, but you love Aunt Betsy and you know that she spent hours making it. Are you going to say to her, it was delicious, and push it around your plate and eat a couple of bites? Or would you be honest with Aunt Betsy? Now she's also like 80 plus years old. You know, are you going to say to her, you know what, Aunt Betsy, this thing sucks and I can't believe that you make me eat it every single year? I was thinking about that because there were a split in the amount of people who said yes, that they would tell little white lies and say that it's okay and it's kind of necessary to be able to, you see, we got one person here that thinks that yes, you have to lie. That to be able to negotiate certain delicate situations in life, that perhaps we do need to tell white lies. Now the other side was that the people who said no were adamant that each little white lie adds up and that over time it's too hard to track what your actual lies are, or how do you justify it later, and what happens if you get caught, and if you know, what happens? And I just thought that this was a really, really great question. And I was trying to think, you know, like which way would I actually respond to this? And then I was thinking, you know, I don't really have an answer for this yet, but I really was curious to know, what do you think? And I think that this is a great question to think about as we head into the holidays, because you are going to be confronted probably with a lot of situations where to keep face or to get along with family members, friends, co-workers, you're going to want to, you know, be delicate and kind of work around some subjects. So I'll leave you with that today. And the 2 things that I talked to you today about was, 1, practicing public speaking, which I would even recommend, even if you're not even in a group or anything like that, an opportunity to even speak publicly and to practice is even at your Thanksgiving dinner. A lot of us, you know, will either get shy around family, or there's a couple of people that always are the talkers in a family. So if you're not the talker, I challenge you over the holiday to tell one story. Just think, it could be something mundane, maybe it'll be a past memory, but tell one story to one guest at Thanksgiving and let me know how it goes. So I'm going to leave you tonight with this here. If you want to reach out to me and give me any feedback or ask me any other topics that you'd like for me to talk to you about, my information is info@AnnickMagac.com. Again, info@AnnickMagac.com. Yes, Jason, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And my handle is AnnickMagac across all social media platforms. I hope this has been useful to you. And if you have any other topics that you want me to cover on health, fitness, and mindset or design, I would love to reach out to you and talk to you about those in future Periscopes. So thank you so much.